All right, you motherfucking AEW sexuals and you SJW clown bags. It's messed up Marks again. And, bro, it is so fucking late at night and I really don't want to fucking record this video. But I just gotta fucking do it. Like, this whole Kenny Omega saying fucking WWE is desperate shit is a fucking joke. What are they desperate from? Like, what are they desperate for? What? I'm just trying to figure out why fucking WWE is desperate. I mean, let's just think. How many wrestlers from AEW has WWE signed? I'll wait. Now let's talk about how many wrestlers from WWE AEW has signed. I'll name them off. Andrade, Malachi Black, Matt Hardy, Daniel Bryan, CM Skunk. I can keep going. It'll never stop. Soon to be Bray Wyatt, Ruby Riott, Dean Ambrose, Chris Jericho. Like, it just doesn't fucking stop. So what are they desperate for? Like, they got NXT 2.0 right now, and NXT 2.0 is building a bunch of characters. Braun Breaker is basically building more of a character than Kenny Omega has ever built. SEXDOLL Kenny. That's all he's known for, is being SEXDOLL Kenny. The only wrestler I ever heard in my life to wrestle a SEXDOLL. So why are they desperate? I mean, they get revenue. They bring revenue into their company. They bring money in. And you motherfuckers sign everybody that they release. So what makes them desperate? Why are they desperate? I don't get it. Like, I think he's delusional. Just like every other AEW fan. They A, don't like sexy women, and B, they're delusional as fuck. Kenny Omega, or SEXDOLL Kenny, whatever you want to fucking call him, it's fucking delusional. Like, they're not desperate, bro. They're giving you talent to sign. They gave up the Big Show, Mark Henry, Daniel Bryan, Adam Cole, Malachi Black, Andrade, Ruby Riott, Dean Ambrose. Like, it just goes on and on and on, like I said before. They have signed nothing but a bunch of fucking WWE wrestlers. They don't even go look for their own talent. Like, they got some of their own talent. But I wouldn't be surprised if people like Brian Cage left. Because Brian Cage ain't going to get no success over there. It's too many WWE wrestlers that's then moved on to AEW over there. So who's really desperate? Because it sounds like a desperate company would sign every single wrestler that gets released in the rival company. That's desperate. Kenny Omega has lost his fucking mind. But, I mean, it's not surprising. When you put Just for Me in your hair to the point where it just fucking fries your brain cells, what do you really expect? I don't expect shit from it, honestly. It's SEXDOLL Kenny. AKA the worst fucking world champion that ever was a champion. I mean, he's been the champion all this time, and he still don't look like a champion. Still don't sound like a champion. Can't cut a promo. But he's the person who gets to say who's desperate and who's not. Not to mention, he got put number 1 on that Wrestling Observer list, which is a fucking joke. It's Roman Reigns. Best character, best gimmick, best champion right now. There is nobody else better. But he's the person who can talk about somebody as desperate. What sounds desperate to me is that every single time AEW get a chance to, they bring up WWE. Do you ever hear WWE bring up AEW? Or ratings? Or this quote-unquote war that's going on between AEW and fucking WWE? No, because they don't look at it as a war. They handed you wrestlers. They gave you a handout. And AEW kept sitting there, please, sir, can I have another, please, sir? Because they can't build no talent. They don't have any characters that are good or have charisma. I mean, they do have. Okay, so let me stop. They have characters who have charisma, but they aren't going to put them on TV, or they'll have them job out to CM Skunk. Like the last character that I seen AEW bring in that wasn't a WWE character was a fucking librarian, and his whole gimmick was, shh, you're in the library. Shh. Like, what is that? And they can't even do nothing with that. So who's really desperate? Who just spent $30 million on wrestlers this year? Wasn't WWE. Besides the wrestlers that's already signed to the company. TNA 2.0 did, which is play EW. Like, I just don't get how Kenny Omega comes up with this shit. And I think, from what I gather, I think it's for attention. Because nobody gives a fuck about him as a champion or as a wrestler or these 5-star matches that Dave Meltzer gives him. Nobody cares about that shit, bro. Because you're still not better than fucking Roman Reigns. Kenny Omega is barely better than fucking Frankie Monet, to be honest with you. Actually, you know what? That's disrespectful to her. Frankie Monet is a better wrestler than Kenny Omega. I'll say that. Like, SEXDOLL Kenny has lost his fucking mind. WWE isn't desperate. AEW is the desperate company. Because anytime somebody becomes a free agent, they... You smell that? It's another free agent. That's how they get. WWE don't do that shit. They try to sign guys. They try to make them stars. They try to give them a life that Daniel Bryan had, where he can meet his wife and he can do this and he can get a little bit of fortune, win a couple chips. They try to do that. All AEW do is, oh, well, let's get you out of that prison over there and I'll sign you and give you creative freedom, which is stupid because creative freedom to wrestlers doesn't necessarily work. If you're not a good booker, you shouldn't have creative freedom. You shouldn't have any creative freedom. Okay, CM Punk has creative freedom, and what has he said that's creative? That he didn't say in WWE. Oh, wait. Dean Ambrose has creative freedom, and what has he done in AEW? Oh, wait. He was the champion, but when he was a champion, he was the worst champion that they had. Not, okay, I'll take that back. The second worst champion that they ever had. The only good champion they ever had was Chris Jericho. I got distracted. The only champion that they ever had was Chris Jericho. That was best. At best. So, this whole Kenny Omega saying that WWE is desperate shit is a fucking cop-out. And I wouldn't expect anything less from SEXDOLL Kenny, honestly. I wouldn't. I mean, anybody that's wrestling sex dolls, you can't expect too much from them. So at the end of the day, whatever Kenny Omega is talking about is just like what JD from New York is talking about. Fucking irrelevant. And nobody should listen to his shit. Because clearly he has no clue what the fuck he talking about. Like the video, comment, share, subscribe.